Don't worry, I can fix it.
Hey, Brian here, and this is my 1981 Honda CB900 Custom that I've owned for about 20 years. And this repair should apply to any of the early 80s dual overhead cam engines, including the 750, 900, 1000, and probably the 1100. So I had the top end torn down for a thread repair on the engine block and found that the tensioner assembly needed replacement. Now the process I used here, I think anyway, is fairly unique in that I only removed the intake cam to get it done. This has its advantage of not messing with the main cam chain timing on the exhaust cam. Now the video starts with the intake cam already removed. So to see the disassembly process and cam removal, check out the thread repair video link in the comment section below. Now to get the job done, I had to develop a few custom tools. And this first one I'm a little bit embarrassed about. So I'm gonna have my sexy Australian AI assistant to explain that one to you first.
Hi, I'm Sheila, Brian's AI assistant. The first custom tool is called the Viagra Fire, and it will take the tensioner assembly from relaxed to upright for insertion. It was made from a piece of 1/2 inch by 1/8 inch flat stock, ground and tapered to fit the edge of the tensioner, then bent into a hook shape and a hole drilled for a wire. A piece of stiff wire was bent to create the final insertion position.
Another special tool we're going to need is a magnet to help us guide this into the hole there. Now I have this scribe with the magnet on the end that fits in the hole, but the magnet's pretty weak, and so I thought it would be better if I had something really strong to help pull it in there. So I got one of those super magnets and glued it with some JB weld to the end of this rod, and then it was slightly larger than it needed to be to fit into that 8mm hole, so I ground it down. So that's like 3 or 4 times stronger than the end of one of those magnets. So it's pretty powerful. So hopefully that'll allow us to make this an easy job of dropping that down and inserting it. Here's another specialty tool that'll come in handy. It's used to go in that hole and then pry this thing when we get it installed to get it in position to get the bolt in. Now that's a 1/4 inch rod that fit perfectly in this hole on the old one, but when I went to use it on the new one, it didn't fit, so I had to sand it down a little bit. So my advice is make sure you get this set up on your new part before you put it in. But you'll see in the video later how we're using this to get this thing pried back. Also a large screwdriver we're going to use to hold this thing down when we go to put the bolt in, and large magnet to get it started, and don't forget to have a nice tall 10mm on hand to get it started once you get it put into the hole.
So the new parts came separated, the tube, the spring, and the actual tensioner. So we're going to need to assemble these. Let's start there.
It's difficult to get the tube on there, so what I'm going to do is go take it down and put it in the vise, and put this hook through the tube, hook it on there, give it a pull, and then slide up on like that. See if that's going to work. Okay, that worked out pretty well. You got to wiggle it back quite a bit, back and forth, pull the spring, let go, pull the spring, let go, and you can work it on there. Okay. Okay, so I thought I was being real clever by building this device to hold the cam chain tensioner assembly for reinstallation based upon the old unit I returned while I waited for the new part to arrive. And the new part is a more robust unit. I believe it goes in the 1100, but it'll fit all the 750s, 900s, 1000, and the end has this welded piece on here. So I'm going to have to redo my fixture. So That looks like it's going to work really well, but I'm going to have to come up with a different clamp on the back here. The string is for safety, so you don't drop it down in the hole once we put it in and then clip it. Okay, now we're ready to install the new cam chain tensioner. So I was able to reuse my device that I built to preload this thing. I had to grind it out to adapt for the more robust bracket that comes with this, but that's essentially what I'm doing right there. I sprung it up and now it's caught like a mouse trap, and I got a safety strap on there as I lower it in case it comes undone, and also when I do undo it to pull it out once I get this rod pushed into the front like it's supposed to be. Alright, we've got our tensioner bolt backed off and inserted the rod with the magnet on the end of it, and put some oil on the end of this thing, and we're going to give this a shot. It's tight quarters in there. I know that when you go to put this thing and slide it down through there, it actually catches on everything, and when I removed it, it was, you know, it doesn't slide in and out of there very easy. So this is going to be a challenge because it's hard to see, and the light, you get blocked in the light when you put it in there. So we're going to drop it down in there, hopefully catch the magnet, and then get it level enough and be able to push it in. Okay, made contact with the magnet already, so that's good. It's riding pretty high in here, so getting that down there. There we go. Okay, our little fixture fell off.
aka the Viagra fire.
Not sure if we're started in the hole or not. Looks like we are. Okay, so we're actually in the hole.
Holy crap! The magnet trick actually worked. And on the first try.
Now if I can get the hook off, we'll be golden.
Well, that didn't go as planned. Tight quarters in there, and the wire was stuck in there really good. So grabbed a pair of pliers, pulled up really hard, and got it out of there. Just deformed the end of the tool there to bring it on out. There might be a better way, a mechanism that would work to hold that in there at the same time being easier to release. See what you come up with.
So now the challenge is getting that thing cocked back up in position so we can put the bolt in. So that's where this tool comes in. So install the locking bolt all the way down to restrict this thing from sliding out, because it can move right out the front. And then pack some cloth down in here so that we don't lose any bolts. And then use our tool here. Get that thing bent down in there. And then we're gonna, once we get it in place, we're gonna hold it there with a screwdriver. Okay. Now I'm gonna turn the video off, but we're gonna use a magnet and push around this thing, and then drop the bolt onto there so we can start screwing it on. All right, we've tightened up the cam chain tensioner bolt there. No specific torque values were given in the book, so just snug it up good. In preparation for installing the cam chain back in, we're depressing this down after you loosen up the tensioner bolt so that the shaft can slide in and out, and then push this down and then lock that bolt in. Don't tighten up the lock nut around it, but just tighten up the bolt, and that way this will stay down, leaving us some slack to get the cam chain on. Prior to cam and cam chain installation, be sure to finish up your final cleaning that you need to do. Check all your pockets. Put oil in all the journals and on the valve buckets. Then we got to get the cam lobes lined up. So we're going to take a shot at it here, and then we'll drop it down and see how it goes, and keep trying until we keep skipping a tooth until we get what we need. All right, so we need to skip a tooth that way. Skip 2 teeth. Try that. That looks pretty close. That might be it. Yeah, lines are horizontal. I think we got her there. Drop her on down carefully. There's guides over here on the K side that you have to fit in. Okay. That's it. We got enough slack here. So we've got the chain installed in the correct cogs. All right, looking at the cam lobe positions, I think we can turn this over a bit and get a more desirable position so we don't have to push down as much when we put the caps on. So with a 17 millimeter on the generator side here, I'm going to give this a little turn. And there, the cam's dropping in a little bit better. Now it's starting to rise up there on the #1 cylinder. So it's never a position where you can get at it exactly, but that one's gonna maybe give me a fairly even go at this. Some more oil on all the journals. When you're getting this K-cap on there, you gotta move the cam side to side here. There's a slot in there. Now there's a torque order for all these, but I'm going to go ahead and put these go down last, but I can set them on here for now. The inner ones, J and H. Okay, those are all sitting comfortably in place. I'm going to go ahead and set these guys in too, just have them position. Remember the ones over here just to the right of the cam chain have an oil line that goes in there, so we'll put that in later. I'm just setting these guys in here for now. Okay, now that we've started to touch down, we're going to walk these down slowly, alternating back and forth, following the prescribed crisscross pattern. Kind of just feel it. You can feel them tensioning up, bringing it down. This one on the far side setting further down. So we're compressing the valve while we're tightening these up. Don't want to get a big bind on it. Okay, we're not torquing these down yet, just gently snugking them up. Basically nothing. Because then when we torque it, we'll do a partial torque, a half torque in a crisscross pattern across the top of it. Torque it down. Got the torque wrench set for half the required torque. Crisscross pattern. Install the cam chain guide A upper retainer. Be sure to put the rubber oil dam on before you put the oil crossover line in. Now you can put the other one in as well this time, but it doesn't really matter when. All right, now you put in your oil crossover line. The upper chain guard there. Now these hold in the oil line, the chain guard, and also the cap bolts, so they will need to be torqued down. And then this goes into both the cam chain guide upper bracket and the lower bracket as well. And these get torqued to the same value as the rest of them. 9 to 12 foot-pounds. I think I've got mine set at around 11. Now I'll go ahead and torque down the remainder of the inner caps. All right, I got all the cam bolts tightened down, torqued down to spec. Go around and double check everything, your alignments. And now since we have had the cam out and it's just good practice, we're gonna check the valve clearance. And then we're also going to rotate the engine and do both the cam A and cam B tensioner adjustments. I'm not gonna show that in this video, but we're gonna do those next. and then we'll fill all the pockets with oil and install the valve cover gasket. Now we're ready to put the oil seal back in. I should have bought a new one probably, but anyway, I ground off a cap screw and screwed into that hole I created earlier, and then put some RTV in there, and then we'll pop that baby back in there.
Oh, burst like a kid. Okay, that wraps up the upper cam chain tensioner replacement project. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it useful. And when I had the tensioner out, I did a thread repair on the engine block for the cam chain tensioner locking bolt that I'd stripped out. If you're interested in that, check out the link below in the comments section. Now let's go ride.